All right, let's go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday, November 13th. This is Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. I'm Aaron Mays. I represent District 3. On my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook. He represents District 2. Rich Eckert, our county counselors at my far right. Our county clerk, Lisa Schmitz, at my far left. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Let's go ahead and dive in. Since you're here today, do you want to run the agenda? Or
Item 1 is presentations. Number 1, facilities management update.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Justin Landon, Director of Facilities Management. I'd like to provide a brief update on the recent progress with the Facilities Management Department. Over the past 4 months, we've made significant improvements across the county facilities. One of the biggest accomplishments was the HVAC at the Manor Conference Center. Is nearly all systems have been resolved. The boiler loop still remains a work in progress, which just started work yesterday. The new system being installed will add redundancy, so any issues in the future, we will always have a backup ready to go, ensuring greater reliability and efficiency. We also successfully, managed and completed the courthouse roof replacement. Provides a long-term protection and reduced maintenance costs later on down the road. The custodial team is now fully staffed, which has greatly improved service and response time. Feedback from our other departments has been excellent, noting higher standards of cleanliness and consistency. Several important facility repairs and upgrades that have been completed. The west doors at the courthouse were replaced to ensure a little better security. Elevator violations during the inspection have been corrected, making the system fully compliant. J.P. Lewis Health Department HVAC system was repaired, and the front door replacement is currently underway. The elections office has its surge protection system replaced and the HVAC heat exchangers replaced. We've made operational improvements. Cleaning products have been updated to a more safer, effective product line, saving the county annually. We continue to improve internal communication workflow and preventative maintenance scheduling for smoother daily operations. Looking ahead, we're pursuing additional cost savings initiatives and evaluating opportunities to improve system reliability across all the county facilities. Overall, the department is making strong progress in addressing long-standing issues, modernizing our systems, and ensuring our facilities operate safely, efficiently, and cost-effectively. Thank you for your time and continued support. I'm here for any questions you may have.
questions?
Justin, I know that you've only been with us for a relatively short period of time, but moving forward, what would you think are your highest priorities in addressing with the county as facilities?
Continuing to address these long-standing issues and infrastructure of the facilities, whether it's chiller related, HVAC related, the building itself, a roof, just getting these buildings solid and continuing to provide better preventative maintenance services instead of being reactive, which is what it's kind of been in the past.
Okay. Go ahead.
I didn't hear, did you mention the flooring at J.P. Lewis at all? Is that something we're already doing?
The floor, I believe, is next year's CIP.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
It feels like we've been talking about it for a long
Yeah,
time.
we've moved, we've gotten some more, some quotes with some actual numbers, to go off of, but it's, yeah, CIP for next year.
Okay. You
Actually came
mentioned
out.
elevator violations also. Could you kind of expand on that just a little bit?
So, the elevators were installed in, I believe, 2020 is when they were redone. In that time frame, state regulations have changed, and so we needed to add additional emergency stops in those shafts for when you're doing maintenance and work on them. They weren't in the best location to get quick access to, or there was also some, the sump pumps that are in the pits to get out any water or anything, was missing a cover. There was some additional little lighting that needed added to have a better work area. So other than that, they were, I mean, fairly simple fixes, but
So when
needed to be done.
When I first got on the commission, we talked about elevators all the time. It seemed like every week, that's all we talked about was elevators. And I made a comment in 2020 when we finished up, that I was done talking about elevators for a long time. And yet here we are, the same elevators.
Yep.
5 years later, still talking about those dang things. So,
Something we'll need to look into eventually is the elections elevator. It is very outdated, parts are hard to come by, very expensive, so doing an update at some point of that system.
have you spoken with, I know they just wrapped up elections, they've been busy, but have you talked with Jake and Andrew about that at length?
Not in length.
They had made some creative, looked into ways that we might be able to get it fixed a little bit more affordably than what was quoted initially. So you might talk to them sometime about that, and they'll explain to you what they're looking at. Any other questions?
No, I appreciate, again, and recognize the time that you've been on board and still trying to get a handle on everything that's where it's going and what the needs are, but just keep at it.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 2, audit finance update.
Good morning, Commissioners. It is time for our quarterly financial overview. So I've provided some slides to go through with you to kind of give you a summary of where we stand as of the third quarter of 2025. I'm sorry, Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. I don't think I said that. Let's see. So starting off on the revenue side, our 2025 budget, it was to have revenues just short of $145 million. So far through the third quarter, which is 75% of the year, we are showing revenues at $145 million. I think I missed zeros. And our revenues to date is $135,650,000. Last year at this time, we had collected $132 million versus revenues. And this slide kind of shows the percentage of, it shows you how much the property taxes are for our revenues. That is far and away the largest amount of revenues that Shawnee County receives. Specifically on the property tax revenue, we budgeted in 2025 for that to be $109,628,000. So far, we have collected $108,519,000, and that is roughly 99% of what we had budgeted for the year. We do have one distribution that took place in October, so that number should bump up just a little bit and get us closer to the full amount that we had budgeted. 2024 revenues were sitting at $105,320,000. And last year at this time of year, we had collected 99.4% of our property taxes. So we're very close to where we were last year. Our other tax revenue, we budgeted $15,932,000. So far, we have collected $13,095,000. In 2024, we were sitting at $13 million flat, and This year, this is a better story for us. Our 2025 collections is sitting at 82% of our budget. Last year at this time, we were sitting at a little under 78%. So our other tax revenues are coming in faster than they were last year through the third quarter. Charges for services, our budget is $7,381,000. Our revenues to date are $5,926,000. Last year, our revenues at this time were $5,083,000. And we are just dead on. This year, we've collected 80.3%. Last year, we had collected 80% exactly. Our other revenues, as you see, our other revenues have dipped down from last year. We budgeted for $12 million in other revenue. So far, we have collected $8,115,000. And our revenues in '24, we had collected $8,752,000. So far this year, that equates to 67.4%. So we're a little under collecting in our other revenues versus our budget. In 2024, we had collected 85% of our budget. This is kind of a weird part of our story because in 2024, we had under budgeted the interest rates. So at this time in 2024, we were showing probably about 175% of our budgeted amount had been received. So that kind of skews this a bit. Our interest rates, as you know, have started to drop, and so they will continue to drop at this point. Our budget for 26 is lower than our budget for 25. And so that's kind of part of this story. But this is other revenue that comes in. And here is our percentages, as I talked about previously. Our property taxes are 80% of our revenue for Shawnee County. Other taxes are 10%, charges for services are 4%, and other revenue is 6%. Historically, with our higher interest rates, our other revenues were up. Our budget for the other revenues were at 10%. Property taxes were down to 75%. So this just is showing that as interest rates go down, unless we increase some of these other values, we have no control over our other taxes. Our charges for services and our other revenues are really what is going to prevent our property taxes from growing even more as a percentage of our budget. And then comparing this to 2024 as far as where we sit with the revenues that have come in as a percentage compared to last year. 2025 is depicted in blue here, and 2024 is depicted in red. So our property taxes, as I said, we are just a little under the percentage that we had received in 2024. Our other taxes, we are collecting at a higher clip, a faster clip than we were in 2024. Our charges for services were pretty square on. And then our other revenues, we have only collected 67.4% of our revenues. Some of those, don't forget, this is through September. So through September, a lot of our accrued revenues had really only come in through August. So we really only had about 8 of the 12 months collected, because it comes in later than we actually earn it. So that will be a little bit relieved down there. I expect that to come in. I think we'll probably end the year a little under 100%, but I don't think it's going to be a dramatic. I don't believe it will be this large of a variance that we're seeing here. Which brings us to our expenditure side. So on our expenditure side, these comparisons are from our budget, our 2025 budget of $145,475,000 versus our year-to-date expenses of right under $108 million. And again, not as extreme as the revenue side, but as you can see, the largest percentage of our expenses are in the law enforcement category. And law enforcement includes the counselor's office, community corrections, the Department of Corrections, the jail, the district attorney, the district courts, the emergency management, and the sheriff's office. So Our budget to actuals this year, we're now showing 74.2% of our budget has been expended, and our historical budget to actuals at this time of year is 74.6. So we're actually showing expenses just a little slower than we have in the past. Pretty close to dead on, but just a touch slower. Our law enforcement expenses are at 73.9% of the year. So they're sitting right where we would expect them to be at this time of year. Our recreation, they have expended 77% of their budget so far this year. Historically, they would have been at right under 80%, so they're doing a good job in their expenses this year. Public Works is currently, they're showing 63.8% of their expenses. That sounds like they're over budgeted, but don't forget they have an end of year transfer that they do that will bring them up to the full amount of their budget. So historically, they're at 66% of their budget right now, and right now they're at 63%. Health Department is at, or this is more than Health Department, I'm sorry. Public Health, which also includes a lot of our allocations partners, as well as the coroner's office. And that is currently showing at 70.4%. Historically, at this time of year, their budget would have been 75%. So they're the most drastically different from where they historically have been on their spend. They're spending at a slower rate, so that's a good thing. It just, budgetarily, we just need to maybe take a look at that. Because they don't have an end-of-year transfer that is normal for them. And then administrative services, we are sitting at 72.7% of our spend, and that includes the general fund. So that includes some larger areas that include like our transfer for capital outlay that goes out all at once. So that's 100%. That line of our budget is 100% on day one of the year. So we have some that are already sitting at 100% in that category. But we are currently at 72.7% spent. Historically, we're at 71.1%. So we are spending at a little faster clip than usual. I don't see any department there when I was looking through it that caused me any concern at this point. We are beginning our department in November. Historically, that's the month that we start really doing some deep dive into details on the budgets. And so we are in the middle of that process. And we will be getting back with you if we do see any department that causes us any concern before we get to the end of the year. Debt service is done for the year. So we have expended all of our money. We have 2 months of the year, March and September, that we make our debt payments. And we are done with both of those since we're through September. And as I said, law enforcement is 51% of our budget. Administrative services and recreation are sitting at 13% and 14%. And then the other three categories, debt service, public health, and public works, are each at 7% or 8% of our budget. And here is where this kind of shows, this, I just put it all in a slide, the things that I verbally stated about where we are in 2025, which is the blue on this slide, versus the trended budget, which shows where we historically have been, the percentage we normally would have been spent through the third quarter. And that is my presentation as far as our where we stand for our finances through the third quarter. Did you guys have any questions for me? Because that was a lot of numbers.
I don't know that I have any that are jumping off the page at me right now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, my first thing was on the other revenues, the numbers there. I think you answered this, though. My initial question was this year to date. So it looks like we're 4 million behind almost, but it's
Timing.
It's
a
not
lot of
year to
that.
date. So you're looking at two different,
It's
like the
a,
revenue itself is year to date, but the budget itself is not, right? So,
correct. The budget is the entire year of the budget. So our budget is $12 million for the entire year. And then
But when you look at the 2024 revenue, the
Yes.
8,700,000, is that year-to-date? Or is that what we took in for the whole year?
The 8,700,000, sorry, let me go to that slide. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was year-to-date. So in 2024, our revenues were at 8,700,000, and this year, our revenues are at 8,100,000. So we are bringing in money at a slower pace than last year. The largest part of that is interest.
Sure, but what was our annual
Budget?
revenue last year in that category? Do you know? I mean,
I-
because when we look at our when you annualize this and you say, where was our budget this year for other revenue compared with our budget last year for other revenue? And then, I'm looking at the
Yeah.
real results right here, and it looks like we're down 630-something thousand, but I guess I just kind of want to get a flavor for, where we're going to be at the end of the year, because, there's only a month and a half left, and right now it looks like we're $4 million in the hole, but I don't think it's going to end that way, but.
Right, and even though on the calendar, we have a month and a half left, so the money that we received this month in November, most of those revenues are actually budgetarily for prior months. So that's
Okay.
money that we earned in previous months, and it finally comes into us, especially interest. Like, we don't get our interest for December until January, if that makes sense.
Right,
And
right.
so that goes into the 2025 budget because it was earned, so we do an adjustment for that. So in another large category that we haven't received at this point on through the third quarter would be the income that we get from the state of Kansas for inmate services.
Sure.
So a lot of those are delayed by about 2 months. So even though we really, as we're sitting today, we have a month and a half, we really have, in some ways, like 3.5 months to actually grab all of those revenues and put them in the correct year. So some of those will flow backwards so that they are financially put in the correct year for the budget. So I'm expecting us to not probably pull in the full $12 million. When I looked at each of those categories independently as I was working this up, I think our interest maybe was budgeted about $500,000 too high for 2025. It's hard to get your handle on those when you're setting those budgets, but I think that, I'm guessing that is probably going to be about where we sit, is just like maybe a little under where our budget was for 2025. I don't think it's going to be drastic. I don't think we're going to end at, like, if you follow this trend, we'd be 2 million short. I don't believe we're going to be anywhere near there.
Okay. All right,
Because
that's good to
again,
know.
timing is a lot. I can try and forecast that out and provide that for you so that you can feel,
You can't predict what the feds are going to do, though, so.
nope, not at all. But I can predict this. I can forecast this out through the end of the year and provide that to you.
Okay.
I appreciate the discussion.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Not today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks for listening to all my numbers.
All right, next item, please.
I didn't see anyone signed up for public comment, so the next item would be item 3, administrative communications.
I know we've got at least one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Susan Duffy, Shawnee County Treasurer. I did want to let you know that property taxes for this year, you can go, all the taxpayers in Shawnee County can go online and begin to pay right now online. And they can do that through ican.ks.gov. And we do recommend that you use this service, not another third party that we don't acknowledge or have any control or connection with, and that you will pay extra fees for. So ican.ks.gov, or just go to the Shawnee County Treasurer website to get that information, but you can begin to pay your taxes now. We will have them mailed beginning next Monday. They will go out in the mail. When you receive them, we aren't sure, but they will be going out next Monday and Tuesday. Taxes are due December 22nd this year, as the 20th falls on a Saturday. So they are due on that Monday, December 22nd. I want to thank the county clerk's office for all the work they did last week to help us finish getting our numbers together so that we're checking and rechecking and checking again. But a lot of work in the clerk's office, and we appreciate your effort to, we weren't the slow ones. There was another county, several other counties were waiting on to get our numbers, and finally we did receive them. So looking forward to taxpayers going online to pay. You do not need to come in the office. You can also drop it off at our drop box or put it in the mail. So I will also stand for any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And I will say, in terms of delinquencies, we still have people walking in paying their delinquent taxes. As I said, I think I let you all know last week or 2 weeks ago, somebody came in with a $2.2 million check. That was huge. And so we are still getting some of those and making contact with some of those taxpayers to come in and pay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Great, thank you. Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Cook?
No, not today.
Okay, I'm going to make a couple of schedule mentions here. The rest of the month is a little bit complicated for our schedule, so on Monday, no meeting here, but we will be meeting at the election office as the Board of County Canvassers. Then, on Thursday of next week, we will not have a work session. We will have a commission meeting, our standard commission meeting on November 24th, and then that Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we won't have a work session that day. And then Friday, November 28th, county offices are closed as part of our Thanksgiving recognition. So Black Friday, we're all going to go shopping that day. So anyways, so that's the rest of the month. Just a little bit different than what you would think. So I don't have anything else to talk about. So our next item,
Would be item 4, executive session.
and I don't believe we have a need unless somebody tells me otherwise. So, okay, we do not have a need for executive session, so we are adjourned.